Thank you so much for having me again. This is really a pleasure. I really love doing these sessions. This is so much fun. So the topic for today is rhythm, especially for improvisation. And my aim for this is to teach you guys a system for how to set up polyrhythms and how to practice them in a way that is musical, so that you can learn how to hear them and feel them, and they can become part of your rhythmic vocabulary for improvising. So I should start with a caveat that this method is not mine. I didn't invent this. I learned this from Ari Honig, a really, really wonderful drummer in New York. And he has these videos in mymusicmasterclass.com. If you look for him, support his work. He's really, really fantastic. And he teaches this method. And he goes really, really in depth. He has several hours worth of this material that unfortunately I can't cover everything here. But I can give you a brief framework for how to do this to help you get started on this journey. It's hard to think of two different rhythms or tempos that are happening at the same time, and keeping track of everything plus the melody and the form of the tune. So this is great for practicing and for developing your jazz skills on the rhythmic side. Okay, so when we think about rhythm, the things that are most important for jazz and rhythm are form. There's tempo, like how fast the music is going. We have meter. So if you were to write it out, you could say how many bars of music there is and how many beats are you going to have in each bar of music. And so 3/4, for example, would be like a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That means that you have 3 quarter notes in a measure. In swing jazz, we have 4 beats per measure, with the emphasis on the beat 2 and beat 4. It sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, dang, dang, da, dang, dang, da, dang, dang, da, dang, dang. And so these are like rhythmic frameworks that we're using while we're improvising to improvise on top of these. And so as improvisers, we can take rhythms and play with the grain of the natural underlying rhythm of what we're music, or against it in ways that create really nice feelings. And it's really about emotions and using these to create a different feeling, and also to get comfortable playing in different meters and different ways for feeling different parts of those bars. Okay, so I'm going to share a screen here. I'm going to draw. You're going to get to hear me clap and sing and draw. So this should be very fun for everybody. No laughing allowed. Let me move this over here. Just a little bit lower. Okay, so I'm drawing. Excellent. All right. So the way to be able to organize this stuff is by creating groups of subdivision. So like I said, in 3/4 means 3 quarter notes, 4/4 means 4 quarter notes. The quarter note is your beat. But how you divide that beat, that is your subdivision. So you can have eighth notes, you can have triplets, you can have 16 notes. Eighth notes is when you divide the beat in half, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you have triplets, you divide the beat in 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. If you have 16 notes, it's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So, and you can go infinite number of subdivisions and how to group them. And so when you group them, you are creating the feeling that you're playing in a different time, in a different tempo, while the tempo that you have going on. But in reality, it's just a rhythm where you already are. And if you learn it as a rhythm, you start be able to hear these patterns against the underlying framework, whether it's 3/4 or 4/4 or whatever. And so a good place to start would be eighth notes. And so let me draw some eighth notes over here. Can you guys see that? Excellent. Okay, so these are two eighth notes. If I were to group them in ones, it would just be the eighth note pattern. So we're going to skip that. So let me group them in twos. So if we group them in twos, now we have two beats. We have one and, two and. Okay, no meter. I haven't assigned any meter or a tempo. Just if you were reading it, you would just see two beats, one and, two and. And let's say we group these in two. Well, if we accent the very first of a grouping of two, let's say like this, the rhythm would be a quarter note, one and, two and. So we're gonna skip that. I'm hoping that most of you can clap on one and two and three or whatever. So I'm hoping that we can do that already. All right, excellent. So, but what we can do is we can change where those accents are to make it more challenging. So instead of doing it on one and on two, we can do it on the and of one and on the and of two. One and two and three and four and one, two, three, four, two, two, three, four. Excellent. And so the first exercise I recommend here is to do this in a an 4-bar phrase, an 8-bar phrase. And then the second exercise I recommend is to sing this rhythm over a melody. Okay, so in jazz, we don't play the eighth notes straight like this. Sometimes, but most of the time, we swing them. They're like triplets, but we don't play the middle part here. We would do it one and two and three and four and one and two and three and four. So let's say I was singing the song Doxy, and we were trying this polyrhythm out on Doxy. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four, one. So I'll save it for brevity. I'll stick to the two A's for now. Excellent. So now we can try. Let's say I tried it in a straight eighth. I can sing the melody in a straight eighth. One, two, and three, and four. One, two, three, four, and bridge. Excellent. Great. So then what we can do next is to group them in threes. Wonderful. So because we're grouping eighth notes in threes, 3 times 2 is 6. We're going to need 6 eighth notes here. Okay, so now we have 1 and, 2 and, 3 and. And we're going to group these in threes. So I'm going to put the accent on the first one, 1, 2, 3. Accent on the fourth one, 4, 5, 6. Now, this is also called, this rhythm of 3 8 notes is a dotted quarter note. If you were to see music written, it would look like this. And that means 3/8 notes, the length of 3/8 notes. Okay, so then if I were to sing Doxy like this, it would be ba-do, ba-dum, da-dum, ba-do, da-do, da, ah, ba-do, da-do, ba-dum, da-do, da, 2, 3, 4, ba-dum, ba-do, do, da, ba-do, do, da, da, ah, ba-do, ba-dum, ba-do, do, do, da, 2, 3, 4, ba. Okay, excellent. So then, okay, if you noticed something interesting is that Doxy is in the time signature of 4/4. However, this particular rhythm is in a time signature of 3/4 notes, 3/4, meaning it's asymmetrical to the underlining pattern. So you're putting 3/4 and 4/4 together when you're doing this pattern. So you don't have to displace it. Like when I was talking about earlier, I was saying we can put the accent here and here, whoops, and here, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move it to the next 8th note division, because 2 8th notes per quarter note. That is called displacement. So here, we're in this pattern. What we can do is we can displace it. We can take this accent and move it 1 subdivision. So like this. So now if we sing this melody and clap this rhythm, it would sound like this. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So as you can tell, that sounds a little bit different when you start from the first or the third, but because it's asymmetrical, you naturally go through the different displacements. So in symmetrical polyrhythms, you don't have to, you practice the displacement, and an asymmetrical, like this one, 3 against 4, you don't need to practice them, because if you do enough bars of 4, you hit these other ones. And let me show you here, for example. I'm here, I'm hitting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me finish my bar of 4 here. So this one, if this was 1 bar of music, I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Wow, that was a really big one. 1, 2, 3, and it would be here. So the next bar starts on the upbeat. First bar starts on the downbeat on the first 8th note, and the second bar starts on the second 8th note. And it will go like this every bar, changing. That way you get all the displacements when you do enough bars of this. Okay, great. So now we did these in 3. So now what we can do is do them in 4. Now we can take these 8th notes and group them in 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 2 is 8. We have 8 8th notes. We are grouping them in groups of 4, and that gives us 4 8th notes. That rhythm is called a half note. So if you could play a quarter note like we did in the first one, I'm hoping you could also play a half note. So we're gonna skip playing and singing this over a half note because it's just 1 and 3. So and so on. So, okay. So then we're gonna, because this is a symmetrical polyrhythm, we can displace it to the very next one. So we're going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Excellent. So now we have bodo, bado, bodo, 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 ba, ba, bado, 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 bodo, 2, 3, 4, bado, da, 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 ba, da, da, do, da, ba, ba-dum, 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 2, 3, 4. Excellent. So you have on the and of 1 and on the and of 3. The next displacement would be on 2 and 4. 2 and 4. So what can we do on 2 and 4? We go ba-do, ba-da, da, da, ba-do, do, do, da, da, ba-do, da, bo, ba-do, do, do, da, ba-do, we, do, do, do. Just like if you were clapping swing, like listening to swing, right? And so what's cool though, this is not just for clapping. When you're an instrumentalist, you would be playing these rhythms. And if you could actually play on 2 and 4, like improvising and make that beat nice and fat on 2 and 4, it can actually feel really good and be really interesting to play this stuff. So I find this very interesting. Okay, so then the next one would be on 1 and 2 and. The and of 2 and the and of 4. Ba-do, ba-do, da-da, ba-do, ba-dum, ba, ba, ba-do, ba-do, da-de, ba-do, da. Sorry. Ba-do, ba-do, da-da, ba-do, ba-do, ba, ba, ba-do, ba-do, ba-de, ba-do, da, 2, 3, 4, ba. Okay, that would be the bridge. Excellent. So and of 2 and of 4. Great. So now we're starting to get into the upper territory. We did groups of 2s, groups of 3s, groups of 4s. Now we do groups of 5s. Let me fix those. That was a weird looking eighth note there. There we go. So we're doing 5 times 2. So we're going to need 10 eighth notes. So we get our 10 eighth notes here. Excellent. So then we would group them in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1. Right? So now you're taking 5 quarter notes against whatever melody you apply. In this case, this melody is in 4/4, so we're doing a 5 against 4 rhythm. But it's if you were to go into like a polyrhythm metronome, the technical for this is 5.2, right? This is 5.2. Give me a dot there. Let's see, draw. Dot. Let's see, 2. It's not wanting to draw down there. Okay, I don't have to draw down there if you don't like it. Not a problem. So basically that's 5:2. So you have the second number is your subdivision and the first number is the grouping. So you have, so if you wanted to figure out 5 against 2, you put a subdivision of 2, which would be eighth notes, and you group them in 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ba-do, 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 do, do, da, ah. Ba-do, ba-do, da-de, do, do, da. 2, 3, 4, ba-do, 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 a-do, do, do, da, ah. A-do, da, do, ba-do, ba-do, ba. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. So that's what that sounds like. Again, this is asymmetrical because 5 is odd and 4 is even. They're not, there's more, and so you don't have to displace each one. If this was a piece in 5/5, I mean in 5/4, if this was a piece in 5/4, you would need to do all the displacements because you'd be symmetrical with your underlying time signature. Okay, excellent. So now that we're getting large enough groups, we can actually do little rhythms inside these things. So for example, a really popular rhythm for 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an accents on 1 and 3 of the 5 of the grouping of 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we were singing Doxy, it would be like this. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, bridge. Excellent. And so you can change this anyway to be creative within a groupings of 5. So maybe like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. And so the goal is really, is not be able to just read them and sing them and read them and clap them. The goal is to be able to play them on your instrument. And so to be able to do that, these need to be, they need to feel comfortable. They need to feel, you need to be able to hear them. So that's just like you hear the melody. I just know the melody. I hear it in my head and I can sing it. And the same for these rhythms. Ba, ba, ah, ah, ba, da, 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 da. They should just come out naturally and you're hearing them without thinking about them. And so when you're practicing them, I suggest writing them out because they help visualize them. I'm a very visual learner, and writing these out helped me a ton, and I can really slowly go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and even slower than that. And little by little, every like increases of 2 beats per minute, 3 beats per minute, 4 beats per minute, something really small, so that little by little you start getting 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and get it as, you know, as fast as possible. Anywhere between 30 and 300 is a huge space to practice all these different tempos because they feel different when they're fast and they feel different when they're slow, and they're most comfortable usually between like 95 and 100 and like 510. That's like the comfort zone, the very like, we can all clap like this without very much training, you know. Excellent. So then at your creativity, you can start working on different patterns of these, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, like that. 1, 2, 3, and a straight eighth note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Again, singing the melody underneath of what you're doing. You can try patterns of, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you know, anything that you can imagine. So then after groupings of 5, we can go to groupings of 6, which 6 is kind of like 3, but it's really interesting because you can do these patterns, like change up the where the accents are, instead of doing the same thing that you would do in 3. You know, technically 3, 6, 8 notes is 3 beats. It would be a dotted half note, like that. This rhythm is called a dotted half note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 2 is 12, and we would need 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 eighth notes. Ba-do-da-do-do-do, a-da-do-do-da, a-do-do-ba-ba-do-do-da, 2, 3, 4, ba-do-ba-do-do-da, ba-do-do-da, da, ba-do-ba-do-da-da-do-da, 2, 3. Excellent. But I mean, you have all that space to work with, right? So you can do like 1, 2, let's see what we can come up. Ba, do, ba, ba, ba. What if we did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, ba, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. This is a cool rhythm because it feels like you're playing the swing pattern, dan, dang, da, dang, dang, da, dang, in a completely different tempo. Here, the tempo here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dan, dan, da, dan, dan, da, dan, dan, da, dan, dan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paro, 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 pa, ah, paro, 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 pam. 2, 3, 4, paro, paro, turum. Paro, paro, pa, pam, paro, 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 turum, pam. 2, 3, 4, pa, ah, ah, and so on and so forth. So 6 is really cool because you're starting getting between what is called simple meter, which is 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 notes, and compound meter, which is 3, 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can do really cool things in switching back and forth between these. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. One thing that you see very common in Latin American music and in world music, like Irish music, for example, lots of Celtic Irish music has this compound and simple meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for example, and doxy, paru, peru, taru, aru, paru, pa, a, paru, paru, taru, lura, 2, 3, 4, paru, paru, parum, paru, paru, ra, a, aru, paru, 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 ra, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So this is once you get to like 5, 6, 7, your possibility starts getting even more and more. So now I'll stop at 7 for so that we don't go on for too long here. Okay, here would be 7. 7 times 2 is 14. So we need 14 eighth notes for this. Okay, so we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 1. So if we were singing doxy, would be paru paru duru paru duru da aru da 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 2, 3, 4 paru 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 aru duru pa pa paru 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 duru 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Now, again, because we have all this space, we have room to make some cool patterns, some intricate patterns here. So one of the most common patterns of 7 is 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay, so if we were to do this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So we were doing doxy. Paru, paru, paru. Paru, paru, ta, 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 ra, ro, paru, paru, pa. 2, 3, 4, paru, paru, paru. Paru, lura, ah. Paru, 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 la. 2, 3, 4, Okay, excellent. And so there are many, many more patterns of 7 that we could do, but we'll move on to triplets. So I'm going to clear all drawings. All right. So now with triplets, it's really interesting because in jazz, the swing pattern is essentially triplets. But what we do in jazz is that we don't play the middle triplet. We don't go pa-po, beep, pa-po, beep, pa-po, beep, pa-po. We go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so what happens is that they're tied. We don't play this one. And so we go bam, boom, bam, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so because of that, we don't practice this middle triplet very much. So this is an interesting thing to practice in jazz. Okay, so I am going to assume again that you can clap quarter notes. So we're not going to clap on the first triplet, which leaves us to the second triplet, which would be like this: 1, 2, 3. Let's say, okay. Oh, well, sorry. Groups of 1, groups of 2. Let's do groups of 2. So let's do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 3, the subdivision is 3, and your groupings is 2. So if you were using a polyrhythm app or something like that, the name of this rhythm would be 2, colon. This thing does not like when I draw circles. I don't know why. There we go. And 3. 3 for your subdivision and 2 for your grouping. Okay, excellent. So now we're triplet, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And the beat is here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's play a little faster for this melody. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-dum, ba-do, ara, aram, ba-do, ah, ah. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dam, ba-do, ah. 2, 3, 4. Arum, ba-do, oram, ba-dam, ba-do, bam, bam. Arum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-do, ba. 1, 2, 3, 4, and bridge. Excellent. So, because this rhythm is symmetrical, right? 6 fits into 12. If we had 4 quarter notes with subdivided in triplets, that would be 12, and 6 fits into 12 evenly. So this is a symmetrical polyrhythm. So we do have to practice this in a meter of 4/4. We have to practice the different partials. They're called, what did I say they were called? Displacement. That's the word. You displace your original rhythm. Here, let me redo. This rhythm, we're going to displace it by 1 triplet. Okay, so this time we're going to do 2, 1, 2, 1, and 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Po tu aru pu pa para ara pa a aru aru paru uru pa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pora daran turam para para pa a paru aru para uru pa. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, excellent. So that was triplets grouped in 2. You can always try the third one, I guess, for the sake of being somewhat thorough. We'll start on 3, 3, 1, 2, and then the next one would be on 1 of the next beat. So I'll draw it just so you guys can see it. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then on 1, and then on the next one it repeats again on 3. Paro paro ara ara poro a aro paro pere duru 2, 3, 4 aro paro oro. So it's the same thing as 1 and 3, but you're starting on the third one of the beginning. So then your full bar would look like this. Wow, that triplet came out really big. I'm sorry. So like that. So you'd be 3, 2, 1. You see, you start on 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. The next one's going to be on 1. Excellent. Okay. So that is grouped in 2s. Technically, because they're grouped in 2s, we're only doing the first and the second one, like 1 and 3, then 2 and 4, But if you get used to starting in different places, you have 3 places to start, even if you're repeating a previous displacement, but starting it later, it feels different. So when you're first learning this, it's cool to try as many different ways on how to do these. Okay, so now let's do groupings of 3. 3. So we're doing 3. If we do groupings of 3, that would mean that we can do the first one, right? This would be a quarter note. And again, I'm going to assume you can play a quarter note, so we're not going to do those. But this is where it gets interesting, because in jazz, we don't play the second partial of the triplet. We ignore it. We tie it to the first one. And so when you hear this, when you practice this for the first time, it feels really odd. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pa, pa, do, ara, para, ara, a, ara, paro, paro, aro, 1, 2, 3, 4, aro, 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 pado, ado, a, aro, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if you do that, let's say you play with people on a regular basis, and all of a sudden you're like, I learned how to play this middle triplet. Now you start playing it, and again, people are going to be like, whoa, because it's just so rare. It's not used a lot. Okay, so then the next displacement would be here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Paro, 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 pa, pa, paro, 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 paro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So this one is much more familiar, because in jazz we play on the ands a lot. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 or and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 or. Excellent. Okay. Because these are groups and 3s, again, you could do these cool rhythms like 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? The core rhythm would be the 2s and the 2, and then you're adding this one and the 3s here. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Paro, 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 paro. I messed it up. Podo, paro, 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 paro. Okay, you get the point. I apologize. These are hard, and even I need to practice these. And okay, so the middle triplet is challenging, and so that is fun, a really fun thing to work on. Okay, so now we do grouped in 3s. Now let's do grouped in 4s. So for this, we'll need all 4 of our beats. We're gonna need 4 triplets. And all right, excellent. So now we're gonna group these in 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you notice that it lands on the first one, then on the second one, then on the third partial. So that is the pattern here. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. This is a cool rhythm, because you have a grouping of 4, and let me see if I can do a circle here. No. And I'll do a giant colon. Yeah. And so a grouping of 4 and triplets. So 4 against 3, which is not the same as 3 against 4. It sounds the same, but how you set it up is different, because instead of triplets grouped in 4, you would have 16 notes grouped in 3. But the end result is the same. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1. Paro, pero, aro, paro, paro, aro, paro, aro, paro, da. 1, 2, 3, 4. Paro, paro, aro, aro, paro, aro, paro, erin, paro, da. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. So because this is symmetrical, you do need to practice all the displacements on this. So you start 2, 3, and 1. Oro, aro, aro, paro, aro, da, aro, aro, paro, turura. 1, 2, 3, 4. Podo, aro, paro, podo, aro, pa, aro, aro, paro, turura. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. And because you have all this space, you can add different rhythms. I'll leave that to your imagination. Excellent. And then the last displacement, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3, 1, 2. Paru, paru, turu, paru, paru, pa, aru, taru, taru, to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arum, paru, rudum, arum, turum, pa, arum, parum, parum, pudu. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. What's important when you practice the melody and these is to not let your melody change. If you're going to phrase it, be very specific and phrase it exactly the same time, because the point of this is to do two different things. Something with or against the melody doesn't always line up with the melody. And so it's really easy to change your melody so that it lines up, because it's harder to coordinate things when they're not lined up. So make sure that you're singing your melody correctly and that you're not changing the phrasing because of the challenging rhythm. All right, so because we're groupings of 4, we have a fourth one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, and 3. Paru, paru, potu, paru, turu, pa, paru, taru, pada, arura. 2, 3, 4. Paru, pada, tara, paru, turu, ta, paru, taru, pere, ere, 2, 3, 4, 1. Are you guys sick of Doxy yet? Yeah. So that's why this kind of practice is really good, because you learn that melody super well. So before you start messing around with these things, the first thing you got to do is really know your melody like super, super well, super solid. Okay. Which is not to say that I'm not messing it up. I'm sure I am. But still, it's always a good thing to always practice and keep working towards. So then, let's say we did these in groupings of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and we need one more triplet, because we need 5 triplets. Again, this would be 5 against 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you notice, this pattern is 1, 3, 2. The last pattern was 1, 2, 3. So this one feels just a tad bit longer. instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, now you're 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, o, paru, paro, aro, turu, pa, aro, aro, pare, pudu, pe, 2, 3, 4, paru, paru, pudu, aro, paru, pa, aro, taro, tiri, 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 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so again, you can take one of those patterns that we were talking about before, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Poro, paro, poro, aro, poro, pa, po, aro, aro, paro, paro, pa, 2, 3, 4, paro, peri, eri, para, paro, pa, aro, paro, peri, piri, e, 2, 3, 4, 1. Excellent. And again, there's other patterns you could do. But a good way to remember this is the 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. So the next beat's going to be 3, then 2, then 1, 3, 2, and it just helps you remember until you just start feeling it. You start feeling it and hearing it and memorizing these rhythms. Okay. We can do 6. Let's see. For 6, well, how about this? 6 is very similar to 3, and I will leave you to figure out what 6 is like. So I'm going to skip to 7 here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. And 7. Excellent. So we have 7 triplets. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because there's triplets, 7 triplets, 7 groups of 3 groups of 7 fit, right? You have 7, then 7, 7, 7 beats of triplets. This is asymmetric, so if you do enough bars, you can get through all the different permutations. So again, here we go. 1, this one's on 2, and this one's on 3. So this is kind of like the one that's grouped in 4. Grouped in 4 goes 1, 2, 3, but it's a little different, right? Because instead it skips 1 beat, and then it goes on 2 of the next beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Excellent. So then, poro, paru, putu, paru, paru, pa, pa, paru, paru, aru, paru, pa, 2, 3, 4, paru, aru, tudu, aru, lura, aru, paru, aru, pudu, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, bridge. Excellent. Okay, so then you have all the space to work with, and you can take and create all the patterns that you can imagine. So again, we'll work on the pattern that we worked on earlier for the eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, 1, 2, and 3. That's how you remember it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's how you can start. And then eventually you start just kind of feel that rhythm. Okay, so if we were singing Doxy, one more time. Bodo, bado, bodo, bado, bodo, ah, ah, bado, ado, ado, bodo, 1, 2, 3, 4, ado, 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 bado, bodo, ah, ah, bado, bado, ado, do, 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 2, 3, 4, 1. So I started getting a little loose there. I noticed I wasn't being as precise. The time was kind of flubbing with the time of the clapping. So let me try that one more time. One way to help fix that is to do tapping on your lap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, boom. And you clapping, you're tapping, but you have a harder tap on the accented ones. Bodu, 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 ah, ah, ado, 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 bodu, ah, 2, 3, 4, ado, 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 bodu, ah, ah, ado, ado, bodu, bodu, ba. So, and then once you get more comfortable on the lap, that'll help you get more comfortable on the clap. Bado, bedu, ado, bado, bodo, ah, ah, bado, bado, ado, bado, ba. Ado, ado, bodo, ado, bodo, ba, ah, ado, bado, bede, bodo, da, 2, 3, 4, 1. Excellent. So as you can imagine, this is infinite, right? You can go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, do all kinds of patterns, do all different rhythms. And then, you know, this is the first step to getting that into your instrument, right? So you get really comfortable with working at it like this. And then the harder part is playing it. Because instead of singing the melody, you're singing your improvisation. So then the melody is hidden inside your brain. So you're trying to hear the melody and hear the polyrhythm at the same time. So that's also a challenge. So then that's another, you know, the next step is to practice these on your instrument as if you were improvising, but trying to feel the melody underneath. And, you know, this could go on to 16 notes, and this can go on to different meters, right? We only stuck with 4/4. I only used 4/4 for this whole thing. So, you know, let's say you did, you know, 5/8, for example. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Imagine that this was one bar of music. And you wanted to get comfortable playing different patterns on 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, you would do the same thing. Let's group it in twos, you know, and so on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. The next one would be 2. Here, I'll draw it out just so you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I'll do that one again. 4 and 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 and 2 and 5. Then the second bar is going to be on the upbeats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. All right. Oops. Let's see, is there an eraser? Yeah, I can just erase this and that and this. Excellent. So then, you know, you can do the same thing. We're in 5/8. let's say you want to group them in threes. I'll make another bar of 5 here so that I don't have to start over drawing new bars of 5s. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. And so that is hard, like keeping that, you know, and like keeping that on your leg. On my leg, I would tap a pattern at 5, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I would probably use this on my leg here. Ba, 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 ba. So then that creates you have 2 patterns now, a pattern that helps you keep the 5, and then the pattern against the 5. Ba, tu, ga, ba. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Again, excellent. So then you can do that again. And 4, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2. Let's see. They keep getting bigger. Every time I draw one, it's a little bit bigger than the previous one. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got this one wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last one would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pa, tum, pa, tum, tum, pa, tum, pa, tum, pa, tum. And again, in my foot, when I'm feeling this. Pam, tum, pa, tum, tu, can, tum, ka, tum, pam, tum, ka, tum, tu, can, tum, pa, tu, ka, tum, pam, tum, ka, tum, tu, can, tum, ka, ah, pa, ah, 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 pa, 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 pa. And so what ideally you would learn a melody in 5/8, and you can make one up and go through these patterns. And this goes for any odd meter. This is the meter. It can go for any meter that's different than what we normally use. And all of these exercises helps you feel more comfortable. They help you understand drummers, because drummers practice this a lot. And so they're usually very comfortable. And when they're soloing, you're like, what land are they on? And how can I follow that solo? I have no idea. But as you get more comfortable feeling the subdivisions and the groupings of subdivisions, your time will get more comfortable and your understanding of the rhythmic knowledge will become more comfortable. I'm on this journey as well and just trying to get better. And by no means have I really mastered this. Again, if you're really into this, I would suggest going to mymusicmasterclass.com and checking out the work of Ari Honig. He goes way more in depth with everything. But this is just like the skeleton framework on how you can start working on some of these things on your own. But I love this kind of work. It's something that I'm really passionate about, just because I really didn't do this type of work when I was in music school. It was so much about learning which notes to play, and getting the chords right and the notes right, and just that much was enough work for me. And so getting to the point where I could play with the rhythms and really get crazy is a lot of fun and really exciting. So I hope this was useful to you. And if you have any questions, you can always feel free to email me or find me at Facebook and whatever. So thanks so much. I hope this was helpful.
Oh, another great session, John. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you'll consider participating with us in the future with some other sessions and helping us build this tremendous resource for players of all ages and abilities. Eventually, everyone will be able to find this full recorded session up at clearwaterjazz.com's education and outreach page by clicking on the studio. All the full session recordings will be there, and other really great materials. We've got a bunch of really wonderful upcoming sessions. Frank Williams and Tyler Wortman are going to be back with us with their trombone series scale mode applications on Monday. This week, we still have one more session with JJ Padishal. It's a guitar session, and the topic is jazz and blues, different branches of the same tree. And JJ's sessions have been really great. We have some really fun up and coming sessions on different instruments, including a session for high school students who are interested in pursuing a career in music or going to a university jazz program. Kyle Schroeder is going to be doing a session talking about aiming for a university jazz program, tips from a college students, things to consider and what to expect. And Kyle's been a wonderful part of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday family, and he's loving what he's doing, and I think is going to have some really cool things to share. So please go to clearwaterjazz.com education and outreach, check out all these upcoming sessions, visit us in the studio, and we have other fun things to share as we go on. So John, thank you so much for another great session, and we look forward to you participating more with us in the future.
I would love to. It would be a pleasure and an honor. Thanks again for having me. I love doing these.
All right. Stay well, everybody. Be safe and keep playing out there. We'll see you soon.